Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this?
Okay, so we're diving deep today. We're looking at this, it's all about Indonesian youth and their role in, well, shaping the country's future.
Yeah, really fascinating stuff, especially, given your interest in these global trends.
Exactly. I mean, Indonesia has such a large youth population. It's got to be a big factor, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the source, it doesn't shy away from that at all. In fact, it uses this incredibly strong metaphor, calling them the backbone of the nation.
The backbone. Wow, that's pretty powerful. What's the implication there? What does that even mean, this backbone idea?
Well, it suggests, I think, that they're not just, passively waiting for the future to happen to them.
Right.
They're actively shaping it right now in the present. They're the ones holding everything together, shouldering, responsibilities that maybe previous generations didn't have to deal with at their age.
So it's a huge, huge vote of confidence in their abilities, but also maybe a bit of a burden too.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of both. High expectations, but also, the reality of having to navigate some really, really complex issues.
Which, speaking of, the source mentions these challenges of the times. What are some of those challenges specifically for Indonesian youth? And how does the source suggest they can, be part of the solution?
Well, think about things like, global economic uncertainty, climate change, the fight for social justice. These are things that are happening everywhere, right? And they have a direct impact on the lives of young people.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, and this is what I found interesting, the source, it doesn't portray them as passive victims. It calls on them to take risks, to innovate, to make their voices heard.
So it's a call to action then.
Yeah.
But who's it directed at? Is it just like the youth themselves, or is there a broader message here too?
Oh, I think it's definitely multi-layered. It's like a direct appeal to the youth to step up, but it's also speaking to, older generations, policymakers, to, society as a whole, really. Like a plea almost. Like, support these young people, empower them, give them the tools they need, because their success, it's everyone's success.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking about, like you mentioned, my interest in emerging markets.
Yeah.
All of this, these challenges, this call to action, it has a direct impact on Indonesia's economic future, right?
Absolutely. I mean, how these young people respond, especially with the right kind of support, it's going to shape the country's trajectory on a global scale.
No doubt. And one thing that really stuck out to me was the language used to describe them. Words like, what was it? Burning spirit, bright future, boundless creativity.
Yeah, very evocative language.
Definitely. So how does that kind of language, impact how we view young people, both in Indonesia and globally, I guess?
Well, I think on one hand, it elevates them, it imbues them with this sense of possibility and potential. But on the other hand, it can also, create these kind of unrealistic expectations. Like they're suddenly expected to, single-handedly save the world.
Right.
So it's about finding that balance, I think, recognizing their energy and their ideas while also, acknowledging the very real systemic barriers they often face.
Yeah. So we've unpacked this backbone metaphor, looked at the idea of them as agents of change, explored both the challenges they face and this very, very empowering language used to describe them. It's a multifaceted picture, wouldn't you say?
Definitely, yeah, multifaceted and, directly relevant to those global trends you're always following.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, here's something to think about. Does this portrayal of Indonesian youth, their spirit, their challenges, this whole backbone idea, does it resonate with what you've seen with young people in your own life, in your own context? Just something to ponder as we finish up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.